Hi guys, today we are going to be doing another swatch party video. If you missed the first one that I did with my Touch of Glam beauty shadows, I will link that in my corner. But for today's video, this has been highly requested. We are going to be swatching all of my Glaminatrix shadows. If you are unfamiliar with Glaminatrix, you're missing out. These are all of the beautiful single shadows that I have from her. I also have the Sandra Rose palette, which I've done so many videos with. It's one of my favorite palettes in my collection. These are some of my favorite singles in my collection. I want to go as far as to say as her shimmer formula is my favorite shimmer formula out of every brand, and this is like excluding multi-chromes and stuff, but when it just comes to shimmers, they are so thick and textured and wet looking and foiled and metallic and glittery that I just can't. I die. I love these shadows so much. I can't help it. I do have a code with Glaminatrix that is non-affiliated if you want to pick up any of these after you watch this video and you're drooling all over yourself and you need these. I feel like there's a good chance that that might happen. So my code will be down in my description box. I'll have it on the screen as well. Like I said, it's not an affiliated code. It's just to save you guys a little bit of money. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go ahead and start by swatching all of the shimmers. The only mattes that I have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, so we're gonna end with those. I'll probably do 2 rows at a time, maybe try to squeeze these 2 in after my last 2 rows, but let's go ahead and start with these up here. Of course, I will have a picture of all of these shadows so that you can see them a little bit better with the names on them and stuff like that as well. So let's start with this one. This is from the Easter collection. This one is called Egg Hunt. All of the ones from her Easter collection have a bit of a yellow shift to them, so this is an orange with a yellow shift. It's a stunning color. I think this is so beautiful, and I'm going to say that about probably every single shadow in this palette because they're all just so beautiful. So next up we have the shade Hopping, which is also from the Easter collection. This is a green with a yellow shift. Super stunning as well, as you can see. Next up we have the shade Chick, which is just a yellow. I was gonna say a yellow with a yellow shift, but it doesn't really have a yellow shift with it because it's already yellow. Wondering if I'm gonna have room for 2 rows of shadows here, but we're gonna go ahead and try. Another shadow here from the same collection. This one is called Bonnet. This is a purple with a yellow shift. This is a very unique shadow in my collection. I don't really feel like I have a lot of these. And don't worry, I will show you close-ups after I'm done swatching them because I just feel like sometimes when you do swatches on camera like this, like the lights just kind of wash them out. So it's just needed to do some close-ups where you dim the lighting a little bit to show them more true to color. So we have another one from the same collection. This one is called Bunny. I don't know if these are still available or if it was like a limited edition collection, but I still want to show them to you just in case maybe she comes out with them again next year or something like that. This again, beautiful color, is a blue with a yellow shift. Had to rearrange them a little bit because I found this one. This is also from the same collection, but it was in a different spot in the palette. This one is called Candy Egg. This is the pink one with the yellow shift. This whole collection is just so cute. Now let's move on to some other shadows. This one is called Sundown. This is a very beautiful inner corner shade. It's a little bit chunky. It's kind of like the iridescent ones from Cleona, like the glittery iridescent shadows. But man, oh man, oh man, once you get it swatched out, oh, so beautiful. Next up we have the shade Euphoria, which is definitely a duochrome. I will show you when I swatch it out here. I don't think I've used this one on my eyes yet, but oh my god, it's so pretty. It's like a champagne-y, pinky peach. This is when we're starting to get into like the really metallic-y and foiled shadows because these ones from the Easter collection are more of like a softer duochrome. They don't have that same kind of chunky texture to them that a lot of these other ones do. So let's move into some of my favorites. This one is called High Seas. It is a, I don't know how I would explain this. Let's swatch it out first and see if I can find a better explanation. All I want to do is just look at it. Like that was one swatch. It's so beautiful. Next up we have one of my favorite pink shadows in my collection. This one is called Ballet. You guys have probably seen me use this in a video in the past, but it is a stunning, very, I wouldn't say like true pink. It's more on like the lighter pink side, but it's got a bit of a darker base to it. And then you kind of have like this very beautiful light pink shift. Oh, it's so stunning. Make a drink every time I say the word stunning. I dare you, you're gonna be so drunk by the end of this. This next one is called Sapphire. It is a beautiful kind of jewel blue. Do you see just how pigmented these shadows are? Like, this is one swipe. And I love just how well they pick up on my brushes too. They are so easy to get onto the eyes. Next up we have another blue, which is called Icicle, another one of my favorites. I mean, honestly, all of these are my favorites. Do you see that? It's so pretty. Just one swipe with the finger and you get full pigmentation, and it just like lays down so nicely. Next up we have the shade Soda Pop, which is one of my very few orange shimmers in my collection. I wish that more brands would make orange shimmers because I feel like it's so unique, but this is beautiful. And then lastly for this row, we have one that is called Cloud 9. This is also a bit of a different formula, another one that I haven't used on my eyes yet, but it's more of like this kind of sheer topper shade. It reminds me a little bit of a shade in the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette that I have that I really, really love. It's just got a very beautiful kind of greeny, champagne-y shift. It's so pretty. Let me show you the close-ups of these before we move on to the rest of the shadows. So let's move on to the next row, and this is basically going to be all greens because I love greens. First off, we have the shade Spearmint. I'm probably just going to explain all of these as greens because I'm terrible at explaining different nuances and colors. I'm sorry in advance. But hopefully you'll be able to see the difference in them when I swatch them out. Probably should have started a bit higher, but this is very much a beautiful kind of Christmassy green. I love this. And somehow just now I realized that I have two of the same color, so that's great, I guess. Next up we have the shade Wealth, which is probably one of my more unique greens in my collection. This is a very grungy green. Oh, that looks so pretty. Then we have the shade Peacock, which is one of those beautiful duochromes with kind of a reddish brownish base, but you can see just how intense this is. Like, if you've been looking at the Jeffree Star Alien palette because you want the shade that's similar to this, get this one. Do you guys want to see a video where I try to dupe out the most like unique shadows from his palettes? I feel like that could be a good idea because I don't like his shimmer formula, and I feel like most people really enjoy his palettes in general for the unique shimmers that he has, but they're really not that unique because I can dupe all of them. Next up we have the shade called Tiffany. This one has a little bit more blue added to it, but it's still, I would still call it a green, but it's, yeah, I would call it a green. It's not leaning turquoise enough to call it a turquoise, I don't think, but it is, oh, it's so pretty. Then we have more of kind of like a grass green. This one is called Spirit. Another one of my favorites. Like I said, I could say that about all of these because I cannot get enough of this shimmer formula. When I travel, I always bring so many of these and I always use them on my lid. Next up we have the shade Bank, which is also one of those kind of grungy green tones, but this one is a little bit more on the yellowy gold side. But it's still definitely green, like you can see. It's so pretty. Moving into some more darker shimmers, this next one is called Martini. This one has a bit of a brownish shift to it. It's almost like a green brown, brown green. Like if you mix a brown with a green, like this is what you would get. Then we have the shade called Meadow. Like you see just like the nuances in all of these greens, just how beautiful they all are together, and like even though they're all in the green family, they're so different. And this is why it annoys me so much when palettes have like two shadows that are basically the same on the eyes, when you can do something like this if you're looking for like two different greens. Like look what you can do with greens, you know? There's just so many options. We have another green here which is more of a darker green. This is such a beautiful jewel tone green. I can't, oh, that is so pretty. What was this one called? Lost Woods. It's so cute, you guys. This next one is called Icicle. It's more of a blue. I don't know why I put it in with the greens, but it's got a little bit of like a yellow shift to it, which is probably why I put it. Honestly, I don't really care where in my palettes they go. Usually I don't even sort my singles by color within my palettes or by gradient, because I like when palettes are like scattered and the shadows are all over the place and they're not organized at all. Like, that's how I get inspired when I look at shadows. So I try to do this for you guys to kind of, you know, put them a little bit in the same colors at least. Now that we are done with the greens and blues, let's move into some other colors. This next one is called Rebel. It's kind of like a red bronze. Is that how you would call that? Not really sure, but it's a really, really pretty color. Like, this is my kind of neutral shimmer if I ever use a neutral shimmer. Then we have more of a true red shimmer. This one is called Tropical. I'm not sure if I've used this yet. Oh, that is so pretty. I don't think I've used that on my eyes yet. Look at this Christmas color story that we have going on. Ooh, this would make for a beautiful Christmas palette. Can you imagine? Ooh, I would buy that. Next, we have a beautiful, very, very dark purple. This one is called, what was this called? Mythical. Man, my memory is so bad that I can look at it and like completely forget a second later. This one is not really as metallic as some of the other ones. It's a little bit drier to the touch, but it's still a beautiful color. So we have one more row left, but I'm not going to squeeze anything more on this arm. So I will just show you the close-ups and then I will clean myself off and we can move into the last row, which contains some of these mattes that I have from her as well. Let's move into the last row. First off, we have a beautiful orange shimmer. Again, this one is a little bit more on the red side. This one is called, I always butcher this, sherbet? I don't know. I don't know why I can never say that word, but oh, do you see how beautiful that is? This is such a unique orange that I don't think I have in any of my other palettes or singles in general. Like, I don't know, there's something so special about this that I just absolutely love. And then we are ending on a yellow shimmer, which you guys know I love a yellow shimmer, unless you're new to my channel. This one is called Lemonade. Oh, it's so creamy and so metallic and just so bright and so beautiful, so opaque. I just love her shimmers. Now let's move into the mattes. I don't for some reason have a lot of her singles in mattes. I will say that I have been sent most of these in PR. I did make an order the first time I tried the brand, but after that she did send me a bunch of her stuff. So I'm not sure which ones are PR and which ones that I bought, but I know that I've bought most of the mattes myself, I'm pretty sure, because I always try to pick up mattes whenever I make an order for singles. So this first one here is called Wednesday. It's kind of like a, how would I explain this? It's almost a neon pink. Let's go ahead and give this a swatch. It's almost more like some kind of a berry. What kind of berry is this color? I am the worst at explaining colors. I swear to God, I really need to find a way to get better. But it's a beautiful, is it a berry though? It's not really a raspberry. It's too pink to be a raspberry. Next one is kind of a muted purple. This one doesn't swatch the best. It's also a little bit tricky on the eyes, but the color of this is like a dusty purple. Is that the way to explain this? It's got almost like a gray undertone to it. It's a very cool tone purple. It reminds me a little bit of the purple that is in the Musee Cosmetics, the Violet Ink palette. It's a little bit similar to one of the purples in there. And then we have one of the worst swatching shadows in my collection. This is a neon. This is called Flamingo. This one performs okay on the eyes, but it just doesn't swatch very well, which is the case honestly with any pressed neon. They just don't have enough binder to really stick to your skin without having some kind of a primer down, which is okay, and I'm not going to blame it for that because it does perform, like I said, pretty good on the eyes. Next up we have the shade called Bluebell. This is one of my favorites. It is such a stunning kind of periwinkle blue. The tone of this, I just love this so much. I would say this is similar to that shadow that everyone talks about from Urban Decay. Is it called Chaos? I don't know, that blue one, you know what I mean? I feel like this is pretty similar to that. This one might be a little bit lighter. I don't have the original electric palette, so I can't really compare them, but like just having seen people use that, I would call it pretty close to being a dupe. And then lastly, we have one of my absolute favorite shades from Glaminatrix. This one is called Algae. It's such a beautiful, beautiful lime green. It is so pigmented. It performs so well. Like, that is a one swipe swatch. That's ridiculous. But that one just performs so well. If you're gonna pick up any mattes from her and you like color, don't sleep on this one. I mean, this is just so beautiful. So those were all of my Glaminatrix shadows. I know a lot of you have bought shadows from her because of me. Let me know how you like them. I hope that you all love them as much as I do, because honestly, these are my babies. I would protect these with my life. I love them so much. They are some of, like I said, some of my favorite shadows in my collection, and I would cry if I lost these. Like, if I, for some reason, like, dropped this palette on the floor and it all broke, I would literally cry. And I don't cry very often over makeup, really ever, so I feel like that says a lot. But yeah, thank you so much for watching another one of my swatch party videos. I hope that you guys are finding these helpful. I think that it's nice to do these because not a lot of people have like a ton of shadows from each brand, and even though I don't have the full collection really from anybody, it still might be helpful, and it's also a good way for me to refer people back to these videos if I do talk about certain brands, if you want to see, you know, swatches and stuff like that. So yeah, these are really fun to do. Let me know which brand you want to see me do next. I obviously have a ton of different brands. I'm thinking I want to do probably Clionadh because everybody loves Clionadh, including myself. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. If you want to see some other swatch party videos that I have, here's my playlist. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.